Hi
everybody.
guys! Welcome back to the Los Angeles couple. We're back. Cheers!
While we were away, we watched the Netflix new miniseries, Halston,
Yes, we watched Halston, darling.
starring Ewan McGregor
Oh yes.
as Halston.
I have two things that you'll never have: my talent and my name.
You are out of control.
Here's my offer. You fuck off. And you fuck off. And you and you and you. You can all fuck off.
Halston, darling. I really love how he... Let's talk a little bit about the show, shall we?
Yes, let's discuss Halston.
Okay. Let's just be ourselves
All
now.
right, fine.
I'm a little fashionable.
It was a good-
I'm wearing my fashionable piece. Statemy's wearing my sunglasses that he got me 10 years ago.
I enjoyed the documentary. I'm not really...
Documentary? It was
It's not
not a
documentary.
documentary.
It's a mini-series.
Mini-series.
It's a Ryan Murphy.
Yeah.
He does all the American Horror Stories. He does Pose, and he did that other thing with James Corden and Meryl Streep.
Versace.
Yeah, so
He did other stories.
so
too.
this is a mini series about
Halston, a
Halston.
fashion designer
Fashion
from
designer.
America.
famous in the 60s and 70s, basically.
Because he kind of has a minimalistic approach for fashion.
Had you ever heard of Halston before this?
I never heard of Halston before, but I knew that a lot of the minimalistic movement started in New York and in America. I wasn't sure. I didn't know about Halston, darling.
Yes. We're doing that because by the way, I had heard the name. There's a Billy Joel song with a lyric about your Halston dress.
They were all impressed with your Halston dress.
So I'd heard the name, but I guess they're right because the critics say that, this is about the almost forgotten fashion designer, Halston.
Yeah, I think but let's talk a little bit more about the series, and then we kind of go to the downfall why maybe people forgot about him.
Yeah.
Okay, about the series. So Dante put it on, and I thought it was interesting because I like fashion, and Ryan Murphy does great writing. And I was like, okay, let's figure out.
And I don't like fashion, and I'm not really interested in fashion.
But he likes biographical shows.
And it looked like it was really well made, so.
And the main actor, he's fantastic. For his name, what's his name?
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor. He's fantastic. I've seen him in many, many, many different projects. So I thought that would be great. So watching, it was just such a touching thing to see his story. He grew up in a house of abusive father, and his mom was being abused and punched in the face or whatever by the dad. That dad seems to be drinking, having tendencies or whatever to be violent.
Right.
And then a way for him to make his mom to feel proud of herself, to feel the most of herself, was to making hats for her.
Yeah.
So his first muse, the muses in his life are women in his life, like much of the fashion designers. So seeing him making hats, he was a little boy making little hats for his mom, and they were fabulous. He will find birds, little feathers in the farm, and put it a hat for the mother after her being her purple eyes by the father. And then she would just put it on, and she just had the most beautiful, sincere smile. And I think that feeling of making a woman feel beautiful, it must give some adrenaline to fashion designers, to gay men, because they want to see us happy. They want to see women happy.
Well, now, his father, of course, seemed abusive, and he's growing up in the 40s and 50s, Halston, and so his father is obviously seeing his little boy making hats for his wife, and he's thinking, oh, my son is gay, which back then...
Oh, he would hit him, right? There's a lot of scenes of him hiding under the table, and the father say, come here, using the F word.
Back then, it was the worst thing, in the 40s and 50s and beyond for several decades. It was terrible, so you can see how that terrible, people would...
be terrified that their sons will have homosexual tendencies.
But
No.
The fear of it by men in society was terrible.
And having an alcoholic father probably was very hard. I know, coming from like, I mean, I don't have an alcoholic father. My grandfather, my father's father, was an alcoholic and also abusive towards, you know, my dad.
Yeah.
And not growing up, but seeing stories that in that type of household, I can imagine how Halston wanted to get away from that life.
Was your dad making hats for his mother?
My dad actually, he used to polish shoes to a very rich corporate man when he was like a little young boy. My grandpa died when my dad was only like I think between 14 and 17. I'm not sure quite the age. But probably very young. My dad was the oldest son, so he was kind of pushed into like job market and working very soon. My dad didn't have a childhood, so I can imagine when you grow up in that type of household, like much like my dad, I think Halston kind of hustle his way out of that city, hustle his way out of that household is what my dad did. As soon as he could like start working and start making money and kind of separate himself from that situation.
Yeah, I was a little curious. I don't recall if they really covered what his, besides his mother being his muse, what his stylistic inspiration was, where he learned how to do it all. Because it kind of jumps forward, basically. He first gained notoriety for designing Jackie Kennedy's pillbox hat.
Oh yeah, because he used to make hats when he was a kid.
While she was in the White House.
Okay, but he so he didn't really explain how his backstory from childhood. But as far as I remember, back in the day, they used to have those cutout kind of like things that you buy with the newspaper to make clothes and hats. And he was really good about making it. Like, I remember my grandma, she would never buy clothes from the store. One of the things she used to do back in the old days was to buy those, she'd buy like a newspaper of clothes, and they have those cutout pieces.
Really?
That she will know exactly the shape she has to cut to sew it together to make clothes.
I didn't know that was a thing.
That was a thing. Before the industrialized world, people used to make their own clothes, especially in rural areas. So, you know, of course, people that live in the big centers like New York and Los Angeles didn't go through that. But people that live like in a more of outside the metropolitan area, they have to go through that. So he learned how to cut out from magazines that would teach you how to do it, but he created his own style. Probably got really good in that skill, and probably was presented to the high society of his town, which he got presented to other high society, and then he kind of became a hat name for himself, and that's how he started working with Jackie Kennedy, that will like call him by name to make her hats.
That makes sense.
But then the story comes to a twist. She said that she didn't want to just be recognizable as Jackie Kennedy. She wants to have normal clothes that would kind of just make her blended, but she didn't want to blend in. She want to blend in with style.
Right.
And as when the people would start coming up, it was like, Halston, you have to come up with something different.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting story. It's always interesting to see anybody who became a titan of their industry, how they got there, where they started, the trials, the tribulations, and all that. So it's very well done from that standpoint.
Yeah, but I was just kind of transitioning. So from that, just so people know the story, I mean, spoiler alert, we're going to tell you.
Yeah.
So he started making those kind of like wrap dresses that kind of look like a trench coat, and a dress had a baby. And that was kind of like his signature clothes. Trench coats, I remember, they used to be kind of boring and baggy, but he made very tight and nice and turned into little dresses. And that kind of transitioned to his clothing line. And I remember he got his first big deal with that. And then later on, he's always been passionate about the movement of fabric. And then people that were, you know, playing with fabric here and there, the movement of the fabric got him inspired to create kind of like that flowy dresses that kind of has like those big sleeves that go like from here to here, kind of like that kind of clothes that grandma uses for every wedding type of thing. Everyone has a grandma that wears that for a wedding, so maybe that's when it was hot. And then, you know, he make it that kind of jumping to fashion, and all the high society wants him. He's become a big name. And then, you know, because he needs to become bigger and hire more people and he wants to grow, so he signs his first deal and he kind of sold his name. And the entire downfall of his life is like about selling his name, the points of selling his name, a lot of money that he got by selling his name, the drug abuse, the HIV battles, people around him have HIV. too much party, addiction, and then all the way to downfall. But one of the things I've noticed that was important for him, it was that he was good friends with Liza Minnelli. Is Liza with a Z. I put that song in the car for him once, and I know of the whole lyric all the time. And if there was like a line in the show, he's like, "Oh please, I don't want to see Liza again. How many times I have to listen to the Liza with the Z?" And then when that line happened, I looked at Dante. He's like, "I had to listen many times, by the way."
I do it again. It's Liza with a Z, not Lisa with an S, cause Lisa with an S goes not Z. It's Z instead of S, Lie instead of Lee. Simple as can be, see Liza.
Yeah, I'd never heard that song before, like 6 weeks ago.
No, but I've been playing that song a bunch of times.
No, I know,
but
but
an entire relationship.
Not well. I haven't noticed.
Every time
it
we
until
drive.
recently.
Oh. No. Every time we drive, we drove to Malibu. I did. We drove to the Cafe, and the way back from the.
Really? I must have missed that. I didn't hear that. But, anyways, let's talk about the show. You know, first of all, we were doing it a bit at the beginning. It's funny because Halston, and they even make reference to this in the show. He's from Indiana, but he just decides, I'm going to talk like this.
What is it with the voice?
What voice?
You're from Indiana. It's like you're imitating somebody.
I am not. I take offense to that. I've always been this person.
I
It's
think
going to make me sound more
fancy.
important.
No, he sounds like kind of those guys from country clubs, posh guys.
Like the transatlantic accent.
Yeah, it's kind of that guy that has like a yacht type of voice, that has a lot of money, they grow up with money, they talk like, the women talk like this, darling.
It's just funny, like, dude, you're from Indiana. Like, back then, they were not talking like that. And he
Everyone
does
that
it-
talk like Indiana, he's not gonna sell any dresses
I
because it's
know.
all
It's
about
just
the
funny
story.
to try to make yourself sound more intelligent, more cultured.
Well,
Like, I was
everybody
watching an
does that.
interview with him because I wanted to see what the real guy sounded like.
Yeah.
And he's in the interview like, we try best to service our clientele.
I've always had a big known clientele on all different levels.
Here we say
I use
clientele.
No, I say clientele.
But it's to
European.
Evie's Italian, so it's to kind of appeal
Clientele.
to Italian, like he's in Milan. Oh my clientele.
His models are Italian that he liked to work with.
Dude, clientele.
Clientele. No, I think he's right. But can I say something?
just funny.
Look, I just want to say something to you. But it's like much like people that come to America and they have very strong accents and they have to kind of do like accent removal classes. Or even if you have your accent, know how to use the best ways to make you look stronger. So for example, Arnold has a strong accent, but he uses in a way that makes him sound stronger and powerful. Like some people that have kind of like the Germanic accent, he's Austrian, but I say Germanic because his mother language is German or Deutsch, if you know what I mean. And he uses in a way that he sounds strong, and not like he sounds like a Nazi soldier. He sounds just like a powerful, smart man. So I think like what Halston did was to kind of create like a persona for himself, much like Marilyn Monroe. She's not Norma Jean, she's Marilyn Monroe. Norma Jean has curly, I don't know, strawberry, red, brownish
And
hair.
she also kind of put on a
curly.
fake voice, right? That breathy voice
Oh,
wasn't
she
it?
talks like this. But then there's like interviews
No,
of
but
her.
it was deeper where she'd be like, yes.
No, she would talk like this.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And then, but then later on, there's interviews of her talking to the press when she's like talking about like a scandal that happened to her of all her pictures being published, the naked pictures that she had. They were published in the first Playboy.
Yeah.
They were bought. And then her voice was like mine right now. Like she just talks completely flat and normal. But she puts that kind of thing like that, you know, kind of like Jackie Kennedy. I don't think Jackie Kennedy spoke the way she speaks to the press, like she talked to her husband. Because after her husband assassination, the way she spoke was completely different than before. And I know because I watched the Natalie Portman movie. Have you seen the Natalie Portman movie?
No.
Okay, I'm not gonna give too much, but There's a change of accent.
Yeah, I mean, look, I understand everyone has a public persona and a private persona. It's just
You have to kind
funny,
of create.
but it's kind of
funny.
addicting to talk like Halston. I've been walking
It
around.
is. So we
like,
talking like this. Well,
Yes.
how are you?
Join me in my atelier. I'll be designing
Darling, would you like a white wine or a red?
a Monte Cristo.
Would you like a
he wouldn't even
Bianco
talk
or
about
a red wine? Or a rouge? I love it. No, let's go more about this.
the other-
No. But okay, let's go more about Halston. I actually Googled, but because we didn't watch all at once, we kind of watched like 4 different. I think it took us like 4 days to finish.
Yeah, we watched it over a few days.
This is our dog Mocha.
Mocha.
So she wants the video of
This
him.
is our dog, Mocha.
He's very precious.
This is our dog, Halston.
Halston, darling. He's wearing a Halston for dinner.
Oh, please, darling.
No,
Look
okay.
at this fur.
Okay, let me just finish up. Let me just finish something real quick to make a point. So Halston is interesting because before, when he was like very working and expanding his brand, he was against using drugs. He drank alcohol, but he was not a drug user. There's like a scene that him talking to a
He
guy
even
that was
reprimands-
using cocaine.
Who, by the way, the guy is the director Joel Schumacher, who went on to direct that horrible Batman movie in the late 90s. Fun fact.
Thanks.
The character is Joel Schumacher. It's not actually played by him.
Okay, so the guy was using drugs. He was completely against drugs, and later on he had a boyfriend that loved him. This wonderful black guy. It was so amazing. He was cool, intelligent. Work with him. Looks like he has integrity. And then he fell in love with a Fred Mercury looking Latino guy that was crazy, that stole $1 million out of him and lived off him, cheated on him, gave him HIV. And that guy was the downfall of his life, literally. And put a lot of sex tapes on him, tried an Epstein situation with him, like with the sex tapes. It was a downfall of his career. Plus, he got so addicted to party that there was like a time where the Studio
54.
Studio 54 closed because someone died in the area or whatever. Then he didn't know what to do with himself. He was calling Liza. Liza was like, I'm going to rehab, and because she's having a drink and drug problem. And then he's like, I don't have a problem. But he had a problem. And the fact that everybody knew what to do with their lives besides him, it was terrible. And also, he had a good guy working with him that was doing everything that he wanted. And then the guy just asked him, say, hey, the jeans market is coming up. It's a trend. And we want to jump in and make Halston jeans. And we got to work on it. Jeans are not for Halston. Women that wear my dresses. Women that wear my dresses will not be able to wear jeans.
Meanwhile, by
And
this
then
time, he had licensed his name to like 30 different type of products. Luggage,
furniture, and
sunglasses.
even airline clothes. That he designed airline clothes. So I was like, you did everything basically. Just do one more thing.
He was a difficult artist. He was a diva.
He was a diva. He was difficult to deal with. And the problem is the jeans, because Indiana, he associated jeans with poverty, because before jeans were like the poor people clothes, the cowboy clothes. And then he didn't notice that was becoming trending, kind of like right now sportswear. Somehow like it's fancy. If there's like Chanel sports shoes, there's Prada sports shoes. Not that people are gonna use them for sport because they're uncomfortable. You wear them for streetwear. It's called streetwear chic. At the time, the streetwear chic was to wear those clothes.
The other thing was that Calvin Klein had gotten into jeans, and Halston didn't probably want to validate him by being like, well, I'll compete with you on jeans.
But Calvin Klein was getting huge at the time. And the thing is,
and Calvin had the famous jeans marketing campaign, nothing comes between me and my Calvins.
Yes, the billionaire guy owns a lot of different brands, and one of the brands that he owns is Halston. And he's like, hey, we have to work on this. And then he didn't want to listen. He was a diva. Then took like, I don't know how many months.
It took like 6 months. They needed to get into the market before it got saturated.
Exactly. And then by the time he's like, I came up with this weird fabric, like a little weird suede thing. It doesn't even look like, it looks the color of the jeans, but not a jeans, whatever. Yeah. And then guys like, we're too late now. We're not doing it.
Yeah. And also it's like Halston, you're just trying to, he had gotten popular with a suede material on a different clothing item like years earlier.
You just
And
use
it's
the
like,
same thing over and
Halston,
over
we
again.
see what you're doing. You're saying you're not trying to actually make jeans. You're just trying to sneak your suede into this again. Come on.
Exactly.
See right through you.
Then he's the wife of the investor, like any other wife, wanted a boat because all her friends are having boats. They're billionaires. Like it's like me. Like if I'm a billionaire and all my friends have boats, either I'll get the boat or you have to get the boat.
Well,
if you're billionaires.
The guy in the show rightly said it's a depreciating asset. The minute you step onto it, 90% of the value goes right out the window and into the ocean.
Shush. Then she wanted a boat, and she's a hot wife like me. And I'm not married yet, but we'll see. And then she's like, I want a boat. And the husband's like, okay, I gotta keep this beautiful woman. I have to get her a boat.
A different agency buys out the company that owns Halston.
And
takes
then
over.
there's this guy
There's
doing
this
the fight. This
there's a
annoying
new-
short
a new
guy
is brought in. Yeah.
that goes like every single thing that he spends, he puts it like in a little spreadsheet and start checking. And you cannot do that to Halston because he spent most of his money either in cocaine or orchids. By the way, I love orchids. And then because
that's what ruined Halston, his orchids.
no, it was the drugs, and that like
By
Freddie
the way,
Mercury
I forgot to
guy.
mention Halston being so proper. He didn't want to refer to them as jeans. He wanted to make sure we refer to them as dungarees.
Okay. Okay, so he loses the guy that was protecting him, that he could trust, that was putting up with all his BS, kind of like a father figure type of guy.
Yeah.
And then he has the short guy.
Played by Bill Pullman.
Yeah, he's like calculating everything and like nothing is adding up and keeping up the tabs. He's working like a slave, even though he was working the hardest ever. Nothing was good enough for that guy. He was like, he wanted more. He wants more and more and more and more. Halston finally kind of cannot keep up with everything. They hire a guy to do the job. By the way, by that point, he pushes everyone around him away from him besides Liza Minnelli. He had like this Italian woman that's his number one model that worked for him, designed for him, figure out the bottle shape of his bottle fragrance. I forgot her name. Elsa. Because of Frozen, that's why I remember.
Elsa Peretti, I believe was her
Elsa
name.
Peretti. She did all sorts of things, creative things, and most of the profitable things that he did that like sold, it was because of her idea. So she's very intelligent, very good designer, very loyal person, and the only reason she worked with him, not because of the pay, it was because she was loyal, because she loved him. As a friend, she loved him. And the other guy loved him too. And he pushed both of the people that love him away. It was Tommy Hilfiger, right? Tommy Hilfiger?
No.
Who was the other guy?
The guy's Joe. He's his, guy that he came up with. But it was that cocaine. The cocaine ruined his relationships, ruined his work ethic. He lost it. He made bad decisions, bad financial decisions, bad deals, and it brought him down.
But the thing is, he died of HIV in 1990. He was friends with Liza Minnelli to the end. He'd been through her, she's been with him to the end. He couldn't be alive now and well, but he's not.
No.
And the part I'm sad about is that even right before he died, the guy that he was in love with, like the Fred Mercury looking guy, had the balls to drive in, ask for $1 million. After he got the $1 million, show up in his I don't know if he was in San Francisco already, show up and he's like, let's work together in the next thing. I am the visionary. That's why he did so well. He thinks that Halston did well because he's the visionary. I'm like, that guy did nothing for him besides pleasing him sexually. And that's all. Not even inspired him.
Speaking of pleasing him sexually, so this is something I wanted to discuss that I liked about the show.
Oh, okay. It's like, where are we going with this?
No, it really is great to see how far we've come, that we can have a big budget, super well made, well cast show.
Is it Netflix?
On Netflix about a gay man, a total biography about him, and it's not like a joke, and it's not like, weird or some, it's just a straightforward, that's just his life. And there's a lot of sex between the guys.
I mean, you don't see the sex,
well, no,
but it's implied.
No, but it's like a lot more man-on-man sex than you would see in a mainstream production than 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
We're coming far away.
Growing up, this type of stuff would just be,
see it.
it would be kind of a joke. Like, you wouldn't really see that. It would be something.
I would see European movies.
Yeah, European, yeah. But it's just, I think, great to see stories like this told.
In the Puritan America.
And just like, hey, it's just yet another good
Person.
biography. It's just normal.
It's
I
a
like
person that
things
loves.
are like this are normal. And you can watch it, all kind of people are watching it. LGBTQ,
Straight, gay,
cis, cis, het, whatever you want to word you want
dogs.
to dogs. Mocha watched a lot of it. And I just think it was great to see that it's not a big deal and that people are just reviewing it based on the merits. We don't have to have all discussion like, oh my God, is this okay that they're portraying a gay character in some kind of, like that the discussion isn't about that we could just review it based on the merits. I think it's very progressive and a good thing.
And we're happy about that.
Yes, we are.
And I just want to say one thing. I wish I could wear a Halston now, darling. I need to get a Halston.
I don't know if they still
By
have
the way,
them anywhere.
one of the downfalls of his career was to actually sell for JCPenney's. Because once you're a high-end brand, you don't want it to be your fancy dress be sold in a
That's right.
JCPenney's.
All the
For
socialites
example,
jumped off the boat after that.
I would, if I pay like thousands of dollars in a Halston dress, and then I see like my cleaning lady wearing a Halston
Although
dress.
as I read somewhere, nowadays that's the norm.
No, it's
like
not.
you walk into a
No, it's
Macy's
not.
or Nordstrom, hold on, they have a rack for almost
Those are
all
not
the
fancy
big
brands. They're not big brands. Big brands is like, for example, Versace. You're not gonna see there. Or for example, Christian Louboutin. You're not gonna see there.
Who? I thought it was Louboutin. What is it?
Americans say Louboutin.
Christian Louboutin?
It's with an I-N, like they're Colleen, my name.
Christian Louboutin. Darling.
Americans
All
say.
right, let's go through some fashion brands real quick. And I'm going to tell you how I pronounce them, and then you tell me what they're actually pronounced.
Okay.
Okay, so Versace.
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 Che. It's Versace.
Like Michael Che.
Okay, you gotta watch the series.
Gucci.
Gucci.
Gucci. Galliano.
Galliano.
I'm already forgetting brands.
Ferrari.
Ferrari?
Ferrari.
Ferrari? What's
Ferrari.
that?
Ferrari.
Oh, that's not pronounced. It's Ferrari.
No, Americans say that, but everybody in
Ferrari?
Europe. No, Ferrari.
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 What about Lamborghini?
Lamborghini.
Lamborghini. Christian Louboutin?
Louboutin. I mean,
Oh, okay, what about Louis Vuitton?
Louis Vuitton.
Louis Vuitton? It's not like Vuitton?
I don't speak French, but the way people say it is Louis Vuitton.
Okay, what about Givenchy?
Oh, Givenchy.
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 Givenchy. Is he French?
Yeah, Givenchy. Yeah.
Are there any brands I'm missing?
Oh, so many. I don't remember all. How about La Bottega? La Bottega.
What's the cream one? L'Occitane?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
L'Occitane.
I don't. The lotion.
Yeah.
How you spell it?
L'Occitane.
I have one of those. They're not fancy.
How do you pronounce that?
I don't know. I don't remember, but it's not fancy. It's La Mer. La Mer.
What's that?
The cream for the face.
Oh, I don't know that.
La crème de la mer is the most expensive cream you can get. It's very fancy, nice for your skin. Crème de la mer.
As you can
La
see,
merda, la merda. People know what I'm talking about. Merda means shit.
Christian Louboutin.
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 Louboutin. I don't know how I was saying. American probably they say different.
My favorite is Halston.
My favorite now is also Halston. How can I work here without orchids and cocaine? I don't even know.
My name is Halston. I'm known for the clothes I design. And just as clothes dress a woman, carpets should dress your home.
You're very uninspiring, and if you want to be inspiring, leave a comment down below, darling, and then we're gonna answer to you as soon as possible.
Please make sure to like. Please Make sure to like, subscribe.
Don't be basic.
And comment.
And if you don't subscribe and you're listening to this, you're not part of the Halston family. You're basic. And if you don't want to be basic, you have to subscribe.
This is my half Shiba Inu, half Chihuahua.
It's a Shiba Wawa.
Louboutin.
Repeat after me, Halston. A Shiba Wawa.
Shiba Wawa.
It's a very I can't.
But yeah, it's a lot of great footage of Ewan McGregor, you know, getting it and giving it. And I love it. I'm
recommend.
very happy to see that on TV. It means that we're making some kind of progress.
Society's making progress. I like the gay rights. It's perfect. We're all pro that. We love that. We love progress. We want a women's rights, men's rights, gays' rights. Everybody has a voice.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye to our clientele.